Prime time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. The Saskatchewan government has announced 7 new confirmed cases of COVID-19, bringing the provincial total to 260 right now, with 7 people recovering. Meanwhile, here at home, Lloydminster's healthcare workers are showing their support during this medical crisis. Hospital security guard Arthur Bishop organized a motorcade that toured around the border city this morning. It started with 25 vehicles, but the parade doubled in size as it weaved through the city. Vehicles ranged from oil field trucks to regular cars, gathering at the Civic Center. The motorcade headed to various senior facilities and extended care homes. It ended at the Lloydminster Hospital. Any hopes of getting rest in these buildings during this parade were dashed by the honking horns that the participants were encouraged to make in appreciation of the long hours put in by our frontline health workers. Physical distancing and health guidelines were in place as the participants had to stay in their own vehicles. The Lloydminster Catholic School Division continues to offer counseling services to students and parents during COVID-19. I had the opportunity to learn about the accessibility for these services.
All right, I'm very pleased to be joined with Robin Collins from LCSD, who is a social emotional coordinator for the LCSD. So Robin, thank you for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me.
I want to know a little bit more about your role. As we kind of talked off camera, you're the social emotional coordinator. So what does that all really entail?
Well, it's a relatively new position. It's been around for a couple of years. I work with all of the schools, K to 12, in a capacity where we help support kids with specific needs in terms of behavioral or social emotional learning needs. And I also work with all 6 of our counselors who provide services in our schools as well.
Now, of course, during COVID-19, students haven't been able to go to school. So what have you been doing specifically to help parents and students during this time?
It was kind of funny because the school division did take a pause for about 6 days, and so but the counselors did not. So as soon as school paused for those 6 days so that students could kind of get organized and teachers could figure out where they were going with next steps, we set up counseling supports for all of our schools in terms of supporting students and parents right now. So we are doing things like online counseling support through email, through Google Documents. We're also doing Zoom calls, audio calls, all sorts of different things with kids and families throughout the community, just so that we can continue to offer the supports that we were doing before school let out.
How much of an adjustment has that been for not only from some parents that you may have had a chance to talk to, but also for yourself as well? I know it's different doing it virtually than opposed to being physically with them face to face. How much of a difference have you seen in doing it this way?
Well, it's kind of funny because counseling is about connection and about relationships. And so when we started considering how this was going to look, I know that from myself, but also from the other counselors that work in our division, there was a little bit of trepidation. We were like, how is this going to work? It's going to be difficult if we can't see their face. So because of technology and Zoom and Google Meet and things like that, we've really been able to kind of get eyes on them, which has been nice. Some of the counselors are using FaceTime as well. So, but in saying that, we're not always the most technologically savvy as a group. So it's been a learning curve for all of us, but it's worked remarkably well. And the division has been so supportive in terms of getting us organized and making sure that we had access to whatever technology we needed. And it's been working. It's been working. We've had some really good feedback from the families that we've connected with and the kids. And it's just kind of, to use the phrase that we keep hearing over and over again, it's just our new normal. So.
Absolutely. And I guess just lastly, before we wrap things up, if parents or students want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
We all have our personal emails. So it's our first initial, our last name at lcsd.ca. But we've also set up an additional email address because not all of the students typically would access counseling supports. But in this time, we are expecting more of a demand. So it's counselor, COUNSELLOR, at lcsd.ca, and anyone can email that, and we check it throughout the day, and if people need supports, we'll certainly be in contact with them that way.
Robin, thank you so much for joining me and sharing all this wonderful information for not only for students, but for parents as well. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Stay with us, more primetime local news after the break.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Welcome back. The city of Lloydminster has been briefing the media on the fight to limit the spread of COVID-19 in our city. Here is today's update.
First question. Yesterday's city council meeting was held virtually. How did this come to be, and what else is the city doing for workers who are still working within the office?
Yeah, so with the importance of social distancing, it is important that City Council and our City Administration do their part to combat the spread of the virus and flatten the curve. That is why on Monday, the 6th, we did hold our council meeting virtually. It's important that we show our leadership and our part in social distancing. As well as for some of the other things that we're doing around the city and in our offices. We are taking the safety of our employees seriously. We have implemented a number of measures, including different cleaning practices and sanitization of touch points, removal of chairs in our offices to limit the interaction. We are holding a lot of our meetings virtually now, and we have looked and explored alternative work arrangements for our staff.
And question 2, the city is now offering property tax and utility payment deferrals to ease the financial pressure caused by COVID-19. Was the incident management team involved with city administration to come to this relief?
Yeah, so everyone in the city, including our city administration and city council, are working diligently to support our community through this pandemic. And this is one of the measures that our community got to see yesterday at the council meeting. If you do require more information on this, please go to the City of Lloydminster website and follow the COVID link.
And question 3, we've heard from some residents who are concerned about the use of photo radar during this pandemic. Is photo radar still in use, and if so, why?
So yes, photo radar as well as traffic enforcement is still in use in our city. While I do understand the concerns of our residents, the public safety of everyone in our community and on our roadways is of the utmost importance and is continuing through this pandemic. We do want to urge all residents to be mindful that there is more foot traffic on our roads and our sidewalks right now, so be mindful.
And does the city have any data on the enforcement of COVID-19 related rules, and have there been any warnings issued?
While the city has of not yet collected any data on the enforcement of COVID-19 related rules, we are working diligently both from the Lloydminster RCMP and the City of Lloydminster to further educate our residents and businesses on the measures that have been implemented to date. That includes limiting of social gathering, both indoor and outdoor, as well as the closure of public-facing business for non-allowable businesses. So we are taking the education step first with working with our community, and to my knowledge, there haven't been any warnings issued.
Mayor Gerald Albers joins Eric Bay about the city's decision to enact the payment option relief plan.
I'm pleased to be joined today by Mayor Gerald Albers, and yesterday council decided to implement the payment relief option plan. Can you just talk on that decision?
Yeah, basically administration in consultation with discussions from council brought forward a proposal to look at a couple items. One, the utility bills, which everyone receives on a monthly basis. So that was passed yesterday to bring some relief that way. So what we've asked people to do is continue to pay what they can pay. If they can't pay, that's understandable for the next 3 months. That's what we're basically looking at. But if you can pay, we hope people will continue to pay to help keep the city liquid, the liquidity at the city moving forward, so that we've got our bills to pay as well and things like that. But if you can pay $10 a month, $20 a month, $40 a month, whatever you can pay towards your utility bill would be appreciated. The bills will have to be paid up by at a point later on in the fall. So people will think postponement or deferment, that means it's going to go away. I'm afraid it doesn't. It's just one of the challenges we face. But what we've tried to do was give a lending hand and helping hand to help people get through this crunch rate at this time. From the taxation perspective, we're still a little ways away from the tax notices yet, but we wanted to give the community some sense that there is going to be some relief there. Again, that if you don't have your tax money on July 10th, by July 10th, there is going to be a deferment as well there from that perspective, without fees and extra fines or late payment fees. And again, same idea. If you can afford to pay your taxes on by July 10th, we would appreciate it. It would help keep the city liquid and staying out of our line of credit.
And obviously, it's a difficult time right now. The city has to pay bills. People have to pay bills. But how important was it for the city to offer that little bit of relief to the people here in Lloydminster?
It was huge. I think we've heard about it from every councillor's heard about it in either by email or telephone calls from businesses. Again, we just haven't had the face-to-face discussions with a lot of people, but it's the province of Alberta started the process for the non-residential, working with the school taxes or the school portion of the taxes. We felt that it was only fair to apply it across the city to all taxpayers. And we know that residential taxpayers are feeling the crunch just as much as businesses are, because of people being laid off. I know on a daily basis, I hear from people that I know and hear about other people. From a perspective, the businesses are hurting because when you don't have cash flow, you don't have people coming in, there's no cash flow, and again, there's no profits being generated, so how do you pay your bills? So what we tried to do was come up with a compromise that we hope will not put the city at a total disadvantage, and that's why I asked for people's support. If you can pay some of your tax bill when tax bill time comes, as well as the utility bill, it helps us, because otherwise we're off to the line of credit. We do have a line of credit, but we don't want to go there if we don't have to, because that's more tax money that will be required to pay those bills before we can actually provide operational support of city services and things like that. So this is a bigger puzzle again. I have to talk about puzzles, and this is a big piece of the puzzle, but we want to help people as much as we can, and that's where the city wanted to be at.
All right. Thank you so much for taking the time with me today. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for reaching out, and keep doing what you're doing, and we look forward to seeing you folks back on the air full time.
Our Abby St. John chatted with Becca from the SPCA to help Find a Cat find their forever home in this week's pet project.
Today I'm joined here with Becca from the SPCA, and she has Dixon, an adorable little cat who's missing his ear and his tail. Becca, tell me a little bit about Dixon and how he came to the SPCA.
Yeah, so he came in a little bit of rough shape, obviously you can tell. But yeah, so he came in and we noticed right away that his ear was gonna fall off, kind of thing. And then so we got him fixed up and neutered, and then a little while later we started noticing that the hair was falling off his tail. So then we kind of figured out he needed to get a little bit of his tail amputated. He didn't lose the whole thing, but he did lose some of it.
Now, do you know why he needed to get both his tail and his ear removed?
For the most part, his ear just kind of fell off on its own. The vet's always kind of, just give it a little snip if it more needs to come off, or if it's still kind of hanging on. But with his tail, it was one of those things where it would just fall off on its own anyway. So to prevent any infection or anything like that, we just get the vets to remove it.
Now, what's his personality like? How is he with other cats, other dogs, kind of being around that environment? How has he been so far?
Yeah, he's a fairly relaxed boy, actually. Like he was in a condo with another male cat that's since been adopted, but like they couldn't get any closer to cuddling. Like they were just wrapped right around each other, and he just loves the company of other cats. So as they really like him, I think he would be just the happiest if he was in a home with another cat. They would love him back.
And how is he with other people? Because sometimes I feel that cats can sometimes be okay with other cats, but when it comes to people or kids, maybe not so much. How is he with other humans?
Yeah, we've really noticed that, he's the first one to squawk up if, oh, geez. He's the first, Dixon. He's the first one to say something when people are coming in. And, I mean, yeah, he's a little bit of a chatter, but nothing too much kind of thing. But, yeah, he's happy to see everybody. And dogs, we haven't really tested him with, but he's in the condos over by the dog area. And, and yeah, so he doesn't seem too bothered by them. I mean, obviously, if one comes close encounter, he might be a little bit different. But yeah, as of right now, he's just happy to meet anybody that wants to come see him.
And really quickly, you had just posted on Facebook that you had 10 more adoptions. So you're doing pretty well with numbers so far during this time.
Yeah, we're keeping right up with what we are typically doing in a week, so that's really nice. I think with the dogs, I think we just had a lot of families that, both spouses were home, so they had that time to really spend with that animal. And yeah, so I mean, and we're always kind of asking, making sure that this animal's fitting in with their lifestyle still. But yeah, so we just had a good crew of dogs that all have found their homes now, and we only have one guy up on the floor, and just a few more, like majority of what we have now is just the cats, and even then I think we have less than 20 that need to be adopted still. So we're really hoping to find them all their homes.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you guys are still going on track and, getting those big adoptions, which is awesome to see. Hopefully Dixon is the next one to go. Hopefully this helps. So thank you so much for coming on and chatting a little bit about Dixon and what's been going on with the SPCA.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Manage your waste and recyclables with Quick Pick Waste Disposal. 100% locally owned and proud to serve and support the communities we call home. Quick Pick, the convenient solution to avoid pollution.
Now let's take a look at your closing markets for today.
First General Services. When you require prompt emergency service, the first F word that should come to your mind should be First General Services.
Welcome back. Our Evan Keddy chatted with the PWM Steelers head coach to chat about their season.
Joining me today is head coach of the PWM Steelers, Tyler Scott. Tyler, thanks for taking this time.
Not a problem.
Tyler, just break down the season for me. You guys went 10-16-4 this year, but based on looking at your schedule and looking how close some of those games were, it didn't really seem like a 10-16-4 season.
To properly probably evaluate the season, I mean, there was definitely games, that we didn't deserve to win. They were, so coming up short on those games sometimes is the lesson that needs to be learned. So sometimes you got to learn to win the right way, and that's by working together for 60 minutes.
Now, Tyler, for you guys, you had 3 players that represented Team Alberta at the U18 Canada-wide tournament here with Alexandria Spence, Jaden Morden, and Haley Craig. Just talk about their play throughout the season, and obviously being recognized and added to this team is a huge honor for them.
For sure. No, you know what? Having players like that in your lineup helps, mold the team. Helps, helps with the younger girls watching these players play and how they carry themselves and how they conduct themselves. So, having players like that in your team definitely as an organization, we were trying to build a certain style of hockey team, a no BS, type hockey team. Having girls like that in your lineup, times they'll go out and get that big goal for you, and that's huge. I mean, that's showing how to dig in and how to get the job done.
Now, Tyler, it was announced for you guys that you would be hosting the SO Cup in 2021. That is still a possibility, depending if Prince Albert decides to host next season. But if it does get pushed to 2022, what would that look like for your team? Do you think you guys would take a different approach for the next season and a half or so?
No, I don't think so. And again, I'm not coaching the team next year, so. But I have been in conversation with some of the people that are still on board with it. And, I think we had a pretty good mix of 03 and 04 year players. So, ideally, if we do get to host next year, I think we got a pretty good base. We'll need to try to find a couple players to fill a few holes. But we have a really good base. But even if it is pushed out to the following year, 2022, that's not the end of the world, because I think we had about 7 first-year players on our roster. So that gives us a solid group of 04s that would be moving into a third-year role on our team. So, I do believe that either way, it's going to be hard on those 03s if they don't get a chance to to play, obviously play in it or host a cup. But that's kind of how it goes. This year with everything being canceled, it's it is hard. It's
Tyler, I appreciate you taking this time and chatting with us.
Not a problem. Thank you for your time as well.